Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Shaukat Ali Khan and this is my fifth lecture on vocational guidance. Learning outcomes. After completion of this session, the students will be able to comprehend the concept of vocation. They will be able to understand the process of vocational guidance, understand the nature, characteristics, needs, and function of educational guidance. They will be able to comprehend the techniques of vocational guidance, analyze the theories of vocational guidance. Now, I try to explain the meaning of vocational guidance. Meaning of vocation. Vocation is a career. It is derived from the word vocare, which means to call. Meaning of vocational guidance. Every young man requires advice as to what kind of work will be most suitable for him, keeping in view his abilities and aptitudes. Definition of vocational guidance. Cricht says vocational guidance is facilitative process, a service rendered to the individual to aid him in choosing and adjusting to an occupation. Vocational guidance is a process of assisting the individual choose an occupation, prepare for it, and progress on it. Yoder says educational guidance refers to the inevitable direction given to the care of new employees in the selection process and in their assignment to particular types of work. On the basis of this definition and other definition, I come to the conclusion that there are following characteristics of guidance. Vocational guidance is a process, not an incident. It must be understood in that context. Second, the function of vocational guidance is to help persons with appropriate potential, interest, and abilities in choosing a vocation in keep the view with their potential. Next is the function of vocational guidance is not only to help in choosing suitable vocation but also to help in entering into it and progress in it. Next is all individuals are not equally endowed with potential and capabilities. If that were the case, all individuals would have been suitable for all vocations. The next is the vocational guidance information can also be gathered from individuals engaged in different vocations. In this process, an individual evaluates his role in a real situation. Vocational guidance is that process which helps an individual in realizing his vocational objectives. Now I come to the functions of vocational guidance. Vocational guidance at different stages. Functions of vocational guidance at elementary stage. Second is functions of vocational guidance at secondary stage. Functions of vocational guidance at college stage. Now I come to the detail of these stages. At elementary stage, it is in this period that habits, skills, and attitudes develop. The purpose of vocational guidance at elementary level are as follows: for developing the basic skills and attitudes, for developing the habit of doing the work in a neat and systematic manner, for developing the spirit of cooperative work and sharing the gains with others, for developing good interpersonal relationship. At secondary stage, at this stage, the main purpose of vocational guidance are as follows. Number one, to help people to appraise or know their vocational assets and liabilities. Second, to make people to familiar with various occupational and their requirements. To help people to make a right choice. To help people to prepare themselves for entering into the occupation of their choice. To help people to get suitable jobs in their field. To help people to think seriously whether to go to college or not. A good program of vocational guidance can make the pupils to grasp the realities of life and to drive satisfaction at college level stage. At this stage, some of the specific purpose, aims, or functions of vocational guidance are as follows: to help pupils to relate their studies to vocation that are open to them. Second, to help pupils for making a comprehensive study of the careers which they would like to pursue. Third is to help people for acquainting themselves with different avenues of work. Fourth is to help people to acquaint themselves with avenues for higher studies and various programs for financial assistance, scholarships, stipends, grants, fellowships, etc. Fifth is to help people to make contacts that would help in putting them and according to their plans into successful operation. Next point is need of vocational guidance. Number 1, increasing number of occupation. Students do not have any idea about vocational plans according to their potentialities and needs of the society. The result is that they fail to get suitable vocation and get frustrated and maladjustment. So vocational guidance is required from the point of view of serving the peoples from frustration, disappointment, unhappiness, and maladjustments. Second is vocational guidance from the health point of view. Wrong choice of occupation affects adversely the health of workers. The delicate eyesight is injured by work which greatly affects the eyesight is fatal for them. Sometimes nervous system is shattered by making efforts to maintain a speed of production beyond one's capacity and so on. Third is vocational guidance from the point of view of personal and social values. A frustrated and disappointment of the worker is a curse to himself as well as to the society. Failure in one occupation has a great demoralizing effect on an individual. Fourth is vocational guidance for purpose of utilizing human potentialities. The society loses much through the failure to discover potential genius. A great deal of genius remains discovered in every generation and in every society. Fifth point is vocational guidance from the point of view of the complex nature of society. It has been discussed already that far-reaching changes have taken place in economic, political, and social structure of our country. We require scientists, engineers, technicians, etc. So we require technical people and scientists into our society, but we produce clerical staff and this type of people. From the point of view of discipline in youth is the sixth point. Vocational guidance is required because it exerts a healthy influence on the tone and discipline of society. There are no strikes or lockouts of the work suits to the interest and capacity of the worker. Seventh is vocational guidance from the point of view of the availability of growing amount of information concerning individuals. The new methods of studying the individuals help us to understand the individual in a more scientific and comprehensive way. A factor which is of great assistance to guidance worker in guiding an individual in the matter of making a choice. From the financial point of view of the society, vocational guidance may be regarded as necessary from the financial point of view of the society. The next is vocational guidance from the financial point of view of the employers. Often industry and business incur heavy losses because of change in labor. When an electrician apprentice decides to leave this job and becomes an automobile machines, the new workers takes time to gain proficiency to point attained by one who has left. Tenth and last point is vocational guidance from the financial point of view of an individual. Very often we notice many young people entering many occupation by chance and not in accordance with their suitability. The result is that there is an economic loss to the young workers and the country. Now I come to the selection of a profession. Selection of a profession is difficult task due to following reasons. Time taking to understand personality. There is need to assess the ability according to profession, parents' attitudes and social conditions. These three reasons are very important to select the profession. In the process of vocational guidance, there are two requirements. Requirements of an occupation, second is study of the individual. Now I come to the detail of these 2 points. Number 1, requirement for an occupation. For each occupation or vocation, there are some essential qualifications. Without these qualifications, an individual cannot adjust in the occupation. Hence, only after preparing an inventory of essential qualification, the next stage can be entered upon. Each guidance personnel should be adequately equipped with this information. After getting this information, study of the individual is the second point. Second step is study of the individual. Number 1, initial interview. For collecting the information about an individual, the counselor conducts an initial interview. Through this interview, he gets to know the youngster name, date of birth, age, his parents' names, caste and religion, his parents' occupation, brothers and sisters, if any, his place among the siblings, total family income and sources of income, hereditary diseases, physical problems, schools in which he studied, his friends, interest in sports, hobbies, other details. The second is measurement of intelligence level. Measuring intelligence level is essential for vocational guidance. There are 2 factors of intelligence. One is general guidance or G factor, and second is specific guidance or S factor. Guidance expert must measure both factors separately. They can measure the G factor or by using different tests. For example, oral test, written test, verbal test, force or speed test, performance test, etc. For measuring S factor, guidance expert should use different techniques. Third is assessment of personality. For assessing an individual's personality, the following methods are used: personality inventories, projective techniques. There are following techniques: Rorschach ink blot test, thematic apperception test, psychodrama, situational test, word association test. Other methods: case history method, questionnaire, interview, observation, autobiography, handwriting test. Fourth is measurement of interest. For carrying out vocational guidance work, guidance experts should have the knowledge about an individual's interest areas apart from intelligence and personality. For measuring an individual's interest, various interest tests are used. These are as follows: Strong's vocational interest inventory, Happiness vocational inventory record, etc. Fifth is final interview. After measuring an individual's different aspects and preparing their report, it is essential to do a final interview. Only on the basis of this measurement report, an individual should be considered for his choice of job. During this interview, both the sides can clarify their doubts if any. Sixth is report writing. At the end of guidance, experts should prepare a report on the basis of all the test results, information received during the final interview, and the guidance provided. Next is placement work. The guidance expert, after choosing the vocation, should help the individuals in procuring a job. For this, he should maintain contact with employment office and employers. The last is follow up. The guidance expert providing vocational guidance must also ensure that the individual who has been placed in a job is making satisfactory progress and adjustment. If he is not making satisfactory progress, then probable factors for this situation should be probed and guidance should be given in the light of these factors. Now I come to the next point, vocational counseling. According to Super, vocation is not just a means of livelihood but a path of life. It is social role vocational counseling in which an individual is assisted to prepare himself for a suitable vocation. Occupational information. There are two steps of occupational information. Information collection. Second is information dissemination. Occupational information includes all those facts that are related to an occupation, like qualification for entry, opportunities and means for growth, occupational and health hazards, and related compensation conditions prevailing in special occupations and occupation groups, etc. So we can include in the collection of information career guide, occupational field review, national classification, handbook on training facilities, career guides. There are booklets, different occupation in simple language contain the different information about occupation, occupational field reviews. The detail about an occupation and its related field are given and this literature is used by career masters. Third is national classification of occupations. All small and big occupations in the country have been classified into different classes. Fourth is handbook on training facilities. These books are published at different levels. They contain information regarding training facilities available in that particular country. So all these were the sources of information. Now I come to the second step, dissemination of occupational information. There are two components, providing information at individual level. Second is group method. Dissemination of occupation information, there are two ways of dissemination. Occupational information to students and individuals desirous of vocational guidance. Number one, providing vocational information at individual level. Vocational information at individual level can be provided through interview between the candidate and the counselor. The candidate should be provided vocational guidance only about the vocation in which he shows interest, but care should be taken to ascertain that his choice of vocation should match his capability, qualification and interest. The second is group method. Interview or personal contact is a good medium of dissemination vocational information, but in view of the limited number of the counselors, constraints of time and funds, and very large number of candidates, personal contact should be made only when information cannot be provided through group method. Providing vocational information to group can be done in various ways. There are following ways: occupational information as a regular, career conferences, display of posters and advertisements, display of charts and other printed material, through special subject teachers, through movies and documents, through radio and television, visits to industrial and commercial establishments, libraries. Group method of dissemination vocational information can be widely used in order to save time, and money. Now, I come to the vocational choice process. According to Ginsberg, there are following three stages. Number one, fantasy stage, the tentative stage. Third is realistic stage. Number one, fantasy period or stage. According to Ginsberg, the process of occupational development starts with the birth of a child and continues throughout his life. Occupational development in a child can be studied from his seventh year onward. The process of occupation choice prior to the age of 11 years is the fantasy stage. During this stage, a child undergoes various fantasies about his occupational choice. Second is the tentative period or stage. After the fantasy stage, the stage from the age of 11 to 17 is called tentative stage. During this stage, a youngster visualizes various possibilities about his future vocation. According to Ginsberg, a tentative stage can be further divided into three sub stages as follows: interest stage, second is capacity stage, third is value stage, fourth is realistic period or stage. This stage is very important. The stage starts from the age of 17 years and continues till such time as he joins some vocation. Like the tentative stage, Ginsberg has subdivided the realistic period or stage also into three sub-stages as under: exploration stage, crystallization stage, specification stage. Now I come to my next topic, theories of vocational choice. There are three main theories of vocational choice: Suppes theory of vocational development, Maslow theory of career development, third is Holland theory of vocational choice. There is the detail of Suppes theory of vocational development. Number one, individual differs with regard to their abilities, interests, and personality attributes. Second is they are capable of entering a number of occupations by virtue of their abilities, interests, etc. Third is different types of occupations require different patterns of abilities, interests, and traits. So all these are the components of first individual differs with regard to their abilities. The second is people's preferences for different vocations change with their self-concepts which get modified with time and experience. This makes choice and adjustment a continuous process. Third, the process of adjustment involves a series of life stages which are identified as growth, exploration, establishment, maintenance, and decline. In each of these stages, there can be phases which make up the establishment change. Fourth is the career pattern of the individual is determined by several factors. The important factors among which are parents, socioeconomic condition, intelligence, personality, and available opportunities. Fifth is vocational development can be guided by the assisting in the maturation of abilities and interest and providing for reality test. Vocational development helps in implementing self-concept which develops as a result of the interaction between the subjective factors and the environmental conditions. Sixth is the process of compromise involves role playing either in imaginary situation or in real life situation. 7 is satisfactory from work is depend on the extent to which the individual is able to find expression for his abilities, interests, personality, traits, and values. Work satisfaction also depends on work situation. Super theory helps in understanding the development concerns of young people. Next theory is Maslow theory of career development. Genetic inheritance is important. It sets limits to potential development. The development of inherited characteristic is affected by unique experience, cultural background, and socio-economic factors. Third, the pattern of development of interest, attitudes, and personality is determined by the individual's experience. The mode of and degree of satisfaction of individual needs determine which of the needs become the strongest motivation factors and which do not. The pattern of psychic energies is the major determinant of interest. The intensity of the needs and their satisfaction determines the degree of motivation. Holland theory of vocational choice. Holland divided occupation into following 6 groups. Number 1 is intellectual environment. It includes professions like doctor, chemist, mathematician, physician. Second is aesthetic environment. It includes artists, poets, writers, musician. Third is conventional environment. It includes bank clerks, secretariats, secretaries, clerks, booksellers, etc. Next is realistic environment. It includes workers, mechanics, farmers, drivers, carpenters, counselor, etc. Next is enterprising environment. It includes salesmen, politicians, managers, etc. Next is social environment. It includes social workers, teachers, consultants, guides, interviewers, etc. Holland's theory of occupational choice. There are 3 occupational choices. Occupation in accordance with lifestyle. Second is occupation in accordance with abilities. Third is occupational in accordance with individual's knowledge. Now I come to the essential aspects of an occupation. There are 10 essential aspects of an occupation. Importance of an occupation, nature of work, working conditions, requisite abilities, entry into occupation, training needs, salary, chances of promotion, history of occupation, regularity of work, and place of posting. Number 1, importance of an occupation. Some of the questions to be analyzed are: how useful is the occupation from the point of view of the student, society, and nation? How many people can find employment from it? Whether it is developing occupation or a developed one. Second is nature of work. What is an individual's nature of work in a particular occupation? Whether it is desk job, does the occupation involve much traveling? Does it involve field work? This enables to make correct vocational choice. Next is working conditions. It is important to know working conditions and whether those conditions are congenial or not. Whether there is adequate arrangement for light, air, water, etc. and is humidity under control. How many hours has one to work and is it a day shift or night shift? Is there any rest time between work or not? Second is requisite abilities. What type of abilities are required in the occupation? Whether there are physical abilities or mental abilities or both. In certain occupation, physical abilities are required. If the job requires physical ability, does it involve the entire body or specific part of the body, like mouth, hands, eyes, feet, etc.? If mental ability is required, what mental level is needed? Mental ability includes visualization, creativity, logic, memory, etc. In certain occupation, along with mental and physical abilities, psychological abilities are also needed. For example, the level of emotional maturity, patience, courage, stability, personality, etc. Third is entry into occupation. The mode of joining each occupation is different, hence it is necessary to know the mode of joining an occupation. Is it through employment exchange, an application to the employer, and subsequent interview, or through passing an entrance test? In case of self-employment, the following must be ascertained: how much investment is needed at the onset? Is any license or certificate needed for the occupation? Is preview experience needed? Is any legal formality to be fulfilled? Training needed. This is the fourth step. The type of training needed for an occupation has to be ascertained. Where is the training available and what is its duration? How much experience does the employer need, or can the experience be done away with? Fifth one is the salary. What is the pay scale in the occupation? What is the annual increment? What is the highest salary in scale? Next is chances of promotion. Are there chances of promotion in the occupation? After what length of service does promotion become due? Next is history of occupation. Prior to studying any occupation, it is necessary to know its brief history. History of an occupation gives information about its beginning, growth, stability, and future progress. Next is regularity of work. Does work continue through the year, or does it last for only some month of a year? Place of posting. Among all aspects of employment, this aspect is most important. An individual must know the possible places where he can be posted, the climatic conditions, temperature, availability and quality of water, language, and geographic locations. All these are the compulsory requirements and essential aspects of an occupation. This is the end of my lecture. In the end of my lecture, there are some self-assessment questions. What is the concept of vocation? Define process of vocational guidance. Explain the nature, characteristics, needs, and functions of vocational guidance. Describe techniques of vocational guidance. Analyze the theories of vocational guidance. Thank you very much. I will meet you inshallah in the next lecture.